Hey, what's going on, guys? Good morning, everybody. You guys have tuned into Rules for Rebels. Just got my morning iced coffee, so got a little bit of time to kill. Figured we'd cover kind of a business story, but a business story that also has to do with kind of cancel culture and outrage culture. Speaking of coffee, since I am kind of enjoying my morning coffee right now, I don't know if you guys follow Graham Stephan. He launched a coffee company. I forget what it's called, $1 Million Coffee or Bankroll Coffee or something like that. Kind of spinning, his love for coffee with kind of like an investment and money-making theme. And I actually recently ordered 2 bags of it. It's actually on the way to me. So I'll probably wind up making a video kind of reviewing his coffee. It's supposedly premium coffee at a low or reasonable price. It was only like $9.99 a bag, which I was kind of surprised by. I got 2 bags with shipping for, I don't know, like under 25 bucks. So ordered 2 different blends, I think a light roast and a medium roast. So when that shows up, we'll talk a little bit about his coffee company. He was pretty transparent in, his costs and how he started it and everything else. I thought it was kind of an interesting business story. And also being a coffee lover, I figured I'd try it, review it, and let you guys know. But let's get into this story. So the Juneteenth menu at Atlanta Ikea angers Black employees and customers. Do people have a right to be angry here, or is this just kind of stupid? One thing that always kind of blows my mind, if you're, at the coffee shop in the morning getting your coffee or at the local bar, having a shot and a beer after work, and you just hear normal, everyday people talking, I feel like most people are normal, rational, sensible people and don't get outraged by every little thing. But for some reason, we either let the media or a very small vocal minority of people, and again, when we say minority, we're not talking about minorities. We're talking about, a small number of people who like to be offended by everything, kind of drive the narrative that everything is racist and everything is offensive. But let's get into the story. Actually, before we get into the story, let's talk a little bit about this whole, idea that, fried chicken and Black people, go together, or that serving fried chicken is racist. Like, where does this come from? In my mind, it's because Black people, for the most part, all the Black people I know fucking love fried chicken. I have 2 Black nephews. They love fried chicken. I oddly enough have one Black buddy, Charles, who doesn't like chicken off the bone, and we always kind of poke fun at him and kind of give him shit about it because of kind of the stereotype of Black people and fried chicken. I think fucking everybody likes fried chicken, right? Like, I love fried chicken. I love mac and cheese. I loved collard greens. Soul food and Southern food is amazing. When I was in college, my roommate, this dude, Harold, Black dude, his mom used to come down a couple times a year, and she would bring big trays of baked mac and cheese and collard greens and chicken wings. And oh my gosh, it was some of the best food that I've ever had in my life. Now, because he likes fried chicken, is that race? Like, this whole idea is just kind of retarded. And I did a little bit of digging to see, like, where, why is the idea that fried chicken is racist? Where does this kind of come from? Not sure how accurate this is or if this is the real reason, but NPR did an article talking about some movie from like 1915 that was trying to, kind of like a reefer madness kind of thing, trying to make, white people fearful of Black people. And in the movie, there were a bunch of Black people who were sitting around eating fried chicken with their feet up on the table. It's just kind of like a racist... what's the word I'm looking for? Kind of like a racist portrayal of Black people, and they said that's where this whole idea of Black people and fried chicken came from. They also kind of talk about, fried chicken is a food that you eat with your hands. Fried chicken is greasy and messy. So, fried chicken is dirty. That kind of translates to like Black people are dirty. I don't really make that connection. I think fried chicken is again, delicious, but that's kind of where NPR is trying to say that this whole idea came from. This is why society gets so watered down. Nobody can do anything nice. Nobody can do anything fun. I am kind of surprised that somebody would serve fried chicken and watermelon, even though I personally don't find it racist. The fact that everybody wants to be outraged by everything these days, like, it's pretty easy to see that if you serve fried chicken and watermelon on Juneteenth, somebody is going to turn it into a racial issue. So, I would probably serve people hot dogs and hamburgers or something like that, and just avoid any, any accusations of being quote unquote racist. I'm sure some people out there would say that, oh, even though you were trying to do a nice thing, systematic racism is such a big thing that even when you try to do a nice thing, the nice thing you try to do with good intentions has to be racist. To me, this whole thing is just kind of fucking stupid, but I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts on it. Juneteenth menu at Atlanta Ikea angers black employees. The menu that the manager of an IKEA store in Atlanta says was meant to honor Juneteenth instead angered black employees who called it insensitive. Many didn't show up for work on Saturday, Juneteenth, and some even thought about quitting. Here's another thing. Like, I'm actually selling one of my houses right now. And so I've been over there mowing the lawn and doing some repairs and things like that. And, this was my first house. It's kind of in the hood. And if it's a heavily black and kind of Hispanic area as well, but heavily black area. And on every corner, there's Shark's Chicken, Harold's Chicken, JJ's Chicken and Fish. So to say that black people don't like fried chicken is just disingenuous. I like fried chicken as well. Another thing to kind of add to this story, Southern food is fried chicken and sweet tea and collard greens. So, it's not just a black thing, it's a Southern thing. This event is going on in Atlanta. Wow, it's really crazy that an IKEA in Atlanta would serve Southern food, right? To me, this is people trying to be outraged over nothing. It kind of reminds me of this past summer when we got rid of Aunt Jemima syrup and Uncle Ben's rice and all these things. Like, for the most part, I don't know any black people who were really outraged about this. It was like corporations who decided to be outraged to create an issue, or a small minority of very vocal, woke white people who decided to make an issue out of this. But I don't think anybody really has an issue with this. But there's just a small segment of the population out there that just kind of likes to be outraged by everything. And it's really funny to me, the things that we decide to be outraged about. It's kind of like a first world problems type of thing. How about the fact that the U.S. government sold out the American people and further enriched billionaires and corporations and kind of shit on small businesses over the past year and stomped on our freedoms? How about being outraged about that? But no, we're outraged about fried chicken and Aunt Jemima being on a pancake box. How about being outraged about the fact that the U.S. government was spying on the American people, abused their power, abused the trust of the American people? Edward Snowden blows the whistle on that, and instead of being outraged at the American government, we turn Edward Snowden into a criminal and have a worldwide manhunt, and he's isolated in Russia years later because of this. Like, nobody's outraged about that, but people are outraged about IKEA serving fried chicken. And this is why the media and government and powerful people like to divide people and cause controversy and cause outrage, because when you're distracted about fried chicken and Aunt Jemima and the Washington Redskins, the Washington football team, you can't be outraged about the real issues going on in this country. And that's kind of why Amazon and a lot of companies get behind a lot of these big movements. Why is Amazon pushing, Black Lives Matter and everything else? Because Amazon and Jeff Bezos would much rather have the societal discussion be about Black Lives Matter and divisiveness than, hey, let's talk about better working conditions for Amazon employees, right? They would rather steer the conversation to something that doesn't involve them. I know I've gone off on kind of a tirade and a tangent here, so let's get back into the article. Employees who requested anonymity due to fear of repercussions showed CBS Atlanta affiliate WGCL-TV an email sent Friday that said the special menu was for customers and employees, was a way to honor the perseverance of Black Americans and acknowledge the progress yet to be made. The menu included items such as fried chicken, watermelon, mac and cheese, and collard greens, all amazing foods that I would love to have for lunch and would not be offended by. Employees called that racially insensitive and ignorant and said members of management need to do more to educate themselves on Black culture moving forward. You cannot say serving watermelon on Juneteenth is a soul food menu when you don't even know the history. They used to feed slaves watermelon during the slavery times, one employee said. Does that mean none of us can ever eat watermelon again? It caused a lot of people to be upset. People actually wanted to quit. People weren't coming back to work, he continued. Employees said 33 people called out from work, which sparked an internal email response from the store manager on Saturday. It said, in part, I truly apologize if the menu came off as subjective. It was created with the best of intentions by a few of our coworkers who believed they were representing their culture and tradition with these foods of celebration. And, I've actually seen some chatter online. I think Juneteenth is kind of more of a Southern holiday. If you're not aware of what Juneteenth is, somebody correct me if there's more to it or if I'm misrepresenting the holiday. But basically what Juneteenth is, 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation, the U.S. government or U.S. Army marched down to Galveston, Texas to make sure that all the slaves had been freed. And that's kind of what the holiday is all about. Now, it's not really celebrated in a lot of parts of the country. I bet you a lot of people didn't even know about it until this year. Apparently, it is something that's celebrated in Texas and much of the South. And from black and white people down south, what I've heard is that they have done Juneteenth celebrations, and that foods like watermelon and collard greens and ribs and things like that are typically what they eat, because those are Southern foods and they're in the South, not because it's racist. Back into the article, it said in part, I truly apologize. Oh, so we already covered that. However, employees said the decisions behind the creation of the menu should have included voices of color first. And it sounds like they did, right? It said this was done with the best of intentions by a few of our coworkers who believed they were representing their culture. So this leads me to believe that it was actually black employees who created this menu that then people are ultimately outraged about. But let's continue on. None of the coworkers who sat down to create the menu, nobody was black, the employee said, which that kind of doesn't jive with the previous sentence, which said their culture. The store manager told employees and WGCL that the menu was amended after the issue was raised, but another employee said they just delayed the menu by a day, thinking that everybody who was upset and stayed home on Juneteenth and wouldn't notice on Sunday, which was just added insult to injury. The revised menu still included collard greens, cornbread, mashed potatoes, and meatloaf. Meatloaf seems to me like kind of a white food. My one buddy, Charles, black dude, whenever we go over by my mom's house for dinner, we kind of make racial jokes at each other. It's all in good fun. I think people are a little bit too uptight these days. But when we go over there, like, I remember the first time I ever took him over to my house for dinner, he's like, oh, what are we having for dinner? Unseasoned meatloaf and mayonnaise. And we got over to my mom's house, and sure enough, she had made meatloaf for dinner. So sometimes stereotypes are true. We didn't have any mayonnaise with our meatloaf, but, he made the joke, what are we going to have, unseasoned meatloaf and mayonnaise? And sure enough, we did have some unseasoned meatloaf. Back into the article, I'm just frankly disappointed in the learning process. You shouldn't learn after you have insulted all your black employees, said one. The store manager told WGCL management deeply apologizes for what happened and realized they got the menu wrong. My girlfriend's family is Mexican. They love tacos. They have tortillas with every meal. When I go over there for a barbecue, we eat our hot dogs on tortillas. So if there was some type of Mexican holiday and they serve tacos, would we call that racist? Like, is giving a culture a food that's loved by their culture a racist thing to do? Again, this just kind of leads to this kind of culture where nothing fun can happen, nothing good can happen. Next time Juneteenth comes around, if I were a store manager or if I were a CEO of a company, I'd say, what we're doing? We're not going to do fucking anything, because I guess you're going to offend somebody no matter what. If you don't do anything, you're racist because you didn't do anything. But I'd say, what? I don't want to offend anybody by serving the wrong food, so we're just going to do fucking nothing. Everybody can eat, Swedish meatballs and mashed potatoes and whatever other garbage Ikea normally serves. But that's my take on it. I would love to hear from you guys. What do you guys think? Is this much to do about nothing? Was this insensitive? Drop a comment down below. Let me know what you think. If you guys enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed to the channel, click that subscribe button below. Thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next video.